The Leader of the Opposition.
Thanks, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister. This year, 685 aged care residents tragically have died from COVID. We've heard reports of ants crawling out of wounds and residents being left literally without food and water. It is a national tragedy. Does the Prime Minister accept responsibility and the finding of the Aged Care Royal Commission that this government had no plan for COVID and aged care?
The Prime Minister has the call.
Well, Mr Speaker, I'll ask the Minister for Health to add further to my answer. I addressed this issue early in the year, Mr Speaker, in relation to the government's plans that were in place to support our preparedness and our response to the aged care impacts of COVID-19. And, Mr Speaker, as we look around the world today and we see the COVID-19 pandemic impact once again on countries in the Northern Hemisphere, particularly across Europe and the United Kingdom and the United States, we reflect back on when that COVID-19 impact in the second wave in Victoria hit that state so hard. And what we saw is the number of cases that arose from the outbreak in the community that was mirrored in what happened in aged care. And as the cases in the community receded, Mr Speaker, we also saw the number of cases in aged care facilities also recede, Mr Speaker. The two things were completely connected, and that's why we worked closely together with the Victorian Government through the Aged Care Response Centre to ensure, which we led, Mr Speaker, to ensure that we could be providing the support necessary in those facilities. Now, some 8% of facilities, Mr Speaker, in this country were affected by COVID-19 during the course of this pandemic. Mr Speaker, 56% of such facilities were impacted in the United Kingdom, a factor of 7 times what occurred in this country. The individual impacts, Mr Speaker, on those who have lost as a result of COVID-19 is a terrible and awful tragedy, and all Australians accept that, and the Australian Government accept that, Mr Speaker, and the responsibilities that we have in relation to the aged care system and providing that support. We have never walked away from that, and we've worked each and every day to ensure we've sought to mitigate, to lessen the impact of COVID-19 in this country. And when you look around the world, Mr Speaker, I know Australians see what has happened in this country and what has happened overseas, and they've seen in this country our response was not only world-class, but it set the standard around the world, Mr Speaker. And Australians, I know, as I am, are grateful that in this country, the impacts have been far less than in so many other places around the world. But that does not diminish the impact, the injury and the hurt to every family that has been affected by this crisis. Of course it doesn't. And all governments have had a role to play in both providing that support, and where there's been failures and deficiencies, Mr Speaker, our government has owned those, and we've dealt with those, and we've learned from those, as has state governments and territory governments around the country. And in so doing, Mr Speaker, we have continued to manage one of the most effective responses to COVID-19 anywhere in the world today. And we will continue that, Mr Speaker, because the COVID-19 pandemic is not over. There's still a long way to go. Whether it's on the health road or on the economic road, Mr Speaker, Australians have seen our government respond, and respond effectively, saving lives and saving livelihoods.
The member for Moreton will leave under 94A. The Leader of the Opposition is seeking to table the document.
Thanks, Mr Speaker. Thank you, Mr Speaker. I seek leave to table from the Royal Commission in Aged Care Quality and Safety report on the 30th of September, page 4, which says there was not a COVID-19 plan devoted solely to aged care, and page 11, which says there is a clear need for a defined, consolidated national aged care COVID-19 plan.
The Leader of the Opposition can seek the member for Lawler. The Leader of the Opposition can seek leave to table it, which I'll now ask whether there's leave, but not to read large sections into the record. So
they know what they're getting, Mr Speaker.
Yes, that's okay. Is leave granted?
Leave is not granted.
Leave is not granted.